If this whole entire side of my chest is blurred out, it's just, I don't want y'all to see my last name. Not like you would be able to spell it, but... Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. My name is Abby. So I look like a little grub, what else is new, but I just got off work and I thought it was appropriate to film this video. And also, this isn't how to get a job at the airport, it's how I got a job at the airport, so things are going to be different depending on who you are and where you live and all of that. The thing about flight training is you need that steady income. I am a ramp agent right now, so that is baggage that is marshalling in aircraft and towing them in and out. I'm the person that's on the ramp. I'm the ramp rat. I'm the person that's like, and the tugs and the little like cars that are going around the ramp. I'm that person because I was already an airport rat, and I'm like, why not add some baggage to it, get a little arm day action in there. And I've actually been trying to get this job for a couple years. I didn't really talk about this ever in my videos, but I applied for ramp jobs, I think as young as when I was like 17. But the thing is, I was always taking college classes and in full-time classes pretty much every term, you know, like school is my life. So before flight training and before all of that, I did try, but I couldn't because it is kind of hard to mix college and full-time college with the airport, just because maybe we'll talk about that later. The schedule. So having a steady sleep schedule, having a steady work schedule, being able to clock out when you want. What is that? If you do like adrenaline, if you like being super active and super busy and being on your feet, the airport is for you, baby. Like, I don't know what else to say. It is a process. Okay? It's a process. I'm gonna try to get some popping or lighting, and maybe I'll fix this, maybe I won't. I probably won't. So, the first thing to know about having a job at the airport or working in aviation, but especially for airlines in general, is it's really hard to coordinate it with university, with college. Like, I hate to say it, and I know that there's people that are in college and work at the airline that I'm working at. It's definitely possible and it's doable, but just the way the nature of training is, the first month or first couple of weeks, and then the questions they ask you in the interview, I feel like it might be good to take a break from college, get the job, do training, and then go back to college. Just for me personally, I didn't get this job until I actually took a break from college, which is what I'm doing now. So in the past, I was trying to get under an airline probably since I was about 17 or 18. Actually, I never really talked about it, but I've been to a lot of interviews, and that's why I made that like stupid goofy video about it, because I was kind of frustrated after so many interviews. And the thing is, I didn't want to lie about being in college, but they never liked the fact that I was in school. So the thing about working at the airport is there is a lot of pros and cons to it, and it's not for everybody. So one of the things is you're not going to have a steady sleep schedule. You're not going to have too steady of a schedule. Being able to clock out when you want is kind of a dream because flights are delayed all the time. So your work schedules are going to be pretty different. And there is excitement, there's a lot of adrenaline. It's a very active job, being on the ramp specifically, but even above wing customer service is very active. So the thing is, there's these pros and cons, and if you can't kick it with the cons, a lot of people end up leaving. Next thing, like, I don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it because I gotta be honest, but one of the things that, probably the thing that helped me get hired, was the fact that I got a personal reference from a friend, actually. So I'm not saying you can't get hired if you don't have a personal reference, but it is true that a lot of airlines are it's kind of like a family where you have really high odds of getting hired if you have family members in the airline already, or if you have friends, or if you have an uncle, or just a really good friend, or someone you just met on public transit that can recommend you. Because airlines there's like that loyalty thing. I don't know why I'm doing that. There's that loyalty thing going on. So if they see that you're recommended, you get an interview faster, you get higher up on their list of recommended. I don't know how to explain it. I just know that part of why I got hired was because I got a reference, which is tip number 3, have an open schedule. I mean, there's nothing an airline like hates more when you go into an interview and you say that you have a very strict schedule and you don't want to work certain hours. Like, It's a 24-hour operation. Like, what do you think you're getting yourself into? Like, you want free flights to Japan, and then you're gonna come in here and be all like, oh, I'm about to not work weekend, sorry, because I have a football game. Like, that's not gonna fly with the airline. That's literally not gonna fly. They operate 24/7. They need you to be there 24/7 sometimes, and it depends on the airline, and it depends on your schedule and positions that they have. My position actually is more part-time, but my hours are really weird, and I'm okay with that because I'm willing to make that sacrifice. And like I said, I'm taking the break off college. But go in there with an open schedule and an open mind, because it is the airlines and it's kind of a whole nother world. The next thing that helped me personally, watch where you're going, jeez. The next thing that helped me personally was to be consistent. So be persistent, be consistent, and have an open schedule, get a reference, but just keep trying, because just because you get your first interview with an airline doesn't mean that you're going to get the job. It is a job that a lot of people do want. A lot of people are after that pay and those flight benefits, and they're not really like the best place to get health insurance, but a lot of people want airline jobs. There, believe it or not, are a lot of crackheads that are trying to get into the aviation industry.
I am one of them.
I should have talked about this, but the difference between an airline and a connection or a third-party company is the third party is a contract company. Sorry, I just did my middle finger. But the third-party company will not have the same benefits, and they typically do not get flight benefits. Third-party companies, you'll see in work reviews, they don't offer flight benefits, and they're typically lower pay. Again, I don't want to speak for every contract company ever and say that they all suck, but getting hired directly under an airline is typically the way that you want to go. And it's hard because airlines only have as many spots open for flight attendant and customer service and ramp agent, and they have a lot of positions in their contract companies, you know, because those are kind of a higher turnover rate. So what you might do is get hired with a contract company and then work up to an airline. I did not get my first airline job I interviewed for. I don't think I know anybody that has, because they're pretty competitive. Ooh, she's so orange. It's not that orange in real life, but like this camera makes it look good. The other thing that I was going to say is, on top of not giving up and being persistent, do talk about any relevant experience that you have. This obviously goes for aviation, but it also goes for things that correlate to it. So I've talked to people who work as an ER nurse, and there's actually some pretty big crossover between working in the ER or working as an EMT, emergency medical technician, in first aid, or a cop, with being on the ramp or being in aviation, because they're both action-packed. They're high-paced, fast action. You're on your feet a lot. They're physical. They can be mentally challenging. There's decision-making. So there's certain things in it, and there's safety. Sorry, I'm like adding. There's like safety things in it. So the jobs kind of cross over, because an EMT has a lot of action. You're on your feet a lot. It can be stressful. Irregular schedules, serving people, and that is a lot like working for an airline. But again, I'm a newbie to all this. I mean, I was just hired, but I do feel like loyalty, safety, and decision making are pretty big in aviation in general. I kind of feel like it's lame, because some of these tips you're probably like,
oh, I heard these before,
or
these aren't even original.
But again, this is my experience. Go papi. But also, I had to be patient. Like, I had to wait a lot. Again, I said it's been years. I was trying in the past too, like off and on. I tried with contract companies. I've had a lot of interviews both with contract and with actual airlines, and I didn't make it. Some of them I actually turned down for contract companies. That's another thing. But even with this process with the airline I'm with now, finally, thank you, Jesus, it took me from about spring 2019 now to fall 2019, October. So honestly, it took forever, and I wanted to give up so many times because I was waiting for my security clearance to pass. I had to wait for my physical. I had to wait for my reference to go through. I had to wait at every single step in the process, and it took so long that I almost gave up and just picked a different job or a completely different field, because it's easier to get in. It takes like 2 weeks to get hired versus 3 months. And the thing is, if you give up, that kind of translates to other parts in life. But I've noticed that if I'm gonna be like bullheaded and stubborn about flight training, which I am, then I'm gonna be stubborn about this job because I want this job. So even when they sent back the papers for the 3rd time and said that it didn't pass and I had to redo it, and it takes like a really long time for that specific paperwork that I'm talking about to do, I did it and I sent it back because I was like, okay, just keep going. Just keep going. And now I'm here. I'm hired. I'm working there. I'm getting paid there, getting some good paychecks, making some friends, getting some cute photos of me in the bin looking like a squash. Stacking. And I can say the wait was worth it, but those are the things that helped me. Having a reference, probably number 1, knowing the wait is worth it, being patient, being persistent, being consistent, not giving up hope, not being negative. I don't want to drop y'all right now. This is very downhill. And now I'm going to talk about some memories, some good times that I had during the job search. Oh man, y'all, like it was a journey. Like the whole thing was about a year, and then with the airline specifically, it was about 6 months. It was all a journey, like life.
And then season starts.
This is not an awkward angle. What would even make you say that? Why would you even think that? Okay, all right. Y'all know us. We're all travel junkies. We would do anything for a flight. We would probably sell our toe. I've told my brother that. I am not aggressive. I'm just tired. I'm just tired. If I was a pit bull, that's probably what my collar would say. Anyway, I would sell my toe on the black market or just on Alliance Air Skyways, whatever.com if it got me free flights. These are itchy. So have an open schedule. A little bit about how... What?
Sorry. No,
I'm just trying to do an intro.
it's fine. Sorry.
Cause the lighting. But you know... Oh, that's so pretty. The mountain in the water. Whoa! Look! That is so cool. Okay, it doesn't look that cool. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And he's 25, so
Guys!
it was.
So,
That's 10 years though. Like, it's like such a fiscal.
that's not a Visco girl, Nathan! That is not a Visco girl. That's not a Visco girl. You're such a...
It doesn't matter. You are one.
Well, I'm filming you, so I win.
Come on, you're blocking your face. You had such a good pose earlier.